All right, we're here. We have our two finalists set and our two next losers set. So Nate and Frank squaring off in the finals for the second straight year. I actually didn't even realize that until earlier today that you guys literally played last year, which just rubs a little extra salt in the wound. And then Alex and I are playing in the third place game, not for the first time. We have battled in the third place game before, and Alex beat me, I do believe. That was a long time ago. So congratulations, I guess, are in order for Frank and for Nate. Even Nate, congratulations are in order. So good job, you guys.
Congrats.
Anything
fellas.
to say for yourself?
No, I feel lucky.
It was pretty close. Yeah. It was pretty close. I mean, we had talked about it. We've sort of each talked about it in some way, and it was not a done deal on Sunday. And Alex, you want to talk about how you were so close if you just made a couple more moves?
Yeah, Justin actually hit me up and said, "Are you playing games, or are you actually going to sit all of your pitchers?" Because at one point I had pulled all my pitchers. I didn't think there was a chance Sunday that I could catch up with any part of the pitching aspect, and I was just hoping that Nate got beat up pretty bad and his K's found me. But had I pitched two of my pitchers, Clayton Beater and Cade Smith, they both got saves. It was Beater's first save of the season that would have tied saves for me. And then I left Mickey Moniak on the bench with the Rockies, who went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases, which would have flipped the home run category for me and the stolen base category for me. And at that one point, I think I was leading offensive K percentage as well, and would have had a slight lead. But at the end of the day, I don't think it mattered because Nate came back on the not came back. He was well ahead the entire time, and just had my number.
I just looked at the Mickey Moniak line because I knew you were going to talk about it, and his slugging. So he has 400 at bats, and his slugging jumped 20 points in that one game.
That's crazy.
So Nate, I know, was saying that maybe who knows what would have happened with slugging if that big of a slugging boost was inserted in there too. So point was, it didn't look like really close many times when you just checked the score throughout the course of the week.
Right.
But part of that was because you started off so badly when you started Luis Morales and Jose Quintana, and they both got hit pretty hard.
Yes.
And so it didn't look super close, but then by the end, I don't think Nate was waking up on Sunday morning and thinking like, who am I playing? Is it going to be Justin or Frank? I think there was still a little bit of trepidation, most likely. Is that true, Nate?
Yeah. Like I waited, Alex. I waited till the last second to even start those pitchers because I was thinking that you're going to try to like dupe me and maybe pull them out or put some guys in or whatever. So I was trying to figure out even what to do last second. Like I had set timers on my phone on every pitching start just to make sure that I was thinking the right thing. And I woke up that morning, I probably put about 30 minutes of time and just trying to figure out which category I felt like I needed to win.
Right.
Quality appearance is the one that I knew I had to win. Like I felt like if I won that category, I told this to Justin earlier, if I won that category, then I felt like everything else was going to, fall into place. And that was
I only had one pitcher for Sunday, and I wasn't confident in him going. And with you, I think you had 4 potential pitchers that could go Sunday, and I was basically writing off the quality appearance category and knew that I had to have a big offensive day. And I was hoping, like I said, that if you got blown up, that we would stay, I think, tied on that QA, and that maybe your K per 9 would slide down enough to, give me a chance at it. But
yeah. Well, I had to pick up 2 pitchers on Sunday just to make it happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to pitch either one of them. I was hoping to pitch Glasnow because I thought maybe Glasnow would get me what I needed, but I started thinking about it more, and I was so far up in K per 9, and I think one other category I was a few others, or I think batting average against at one point, and some other things. I have to look at it, but
Yeah.
I felt pretty secure that if I added those, even if one got blown up, it actually what's his name did get blown up. So
Yeah, no one expected Kyle Hendricks to make a semifinal playoffs appearance in our league this year.
If I
And
would
frankly, he proved why he did not deserve that
if I would have
because he
told
got
you
shelled.
exactly, if I would have told you, Justin, that I had to start Kyle Hendricks in this Sunday
You lost.
semifinal game, you'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you lost that sucker."
Well, I'll tell you, Saturday night I had the MLB Network pulled up watching a couple of games because you had Wu and Green going, and
Oh yeah.
when Green got pulled early with that 19.29 ERA, like he was striking out everybody that he was getting out, but I was like, man, this could be rough. And then he had a bad outing, but then Wu, like 13 Ks, like that's
nuts.
I was just like,
Both starts.
It was it.
You got like 20 something Ks between the two starts, dominated both. It was incredible.
Yeah. So like
That's
I knew that I was going to have a chance Sunday, but I knew that it was going to have to be offensive that pulled me through.
Yeah.
And my offense, I think, really just died towards the end of the season. Suarez, Eugenio, he just didn't do much for me. Like once he got traded to Seattle, his power got sapped. But here we are.
Wow. Actually, now that you say that, so I have your numbers pulled up right now. I don't really want to share it because it'll shrink everybody down too much. But if I am reading this correctly, over the course of your matchup last week, Suarez had 22 at-bats without a hit.
Yes.
Damn.
Not a hit, not one.
Yeah.
And he struck out 34.6% of the time. And you did lose strikeouts by 0.05, which is probably no more than 3-4 strikeouts. So you probably were ahead at one point on Sunday, like you were saying. So the Mickey Moniak factor plus maybe you replaced Eugenio Suarez with somehow shift your lineup around and
I don't know.
It really could have. It could have.
But
we were not that far off.
That's one of those ones where it's like he's hit so well all season that you can't not put him in the lineup. But he hadn't had a hit since September 7th, and he had 2 home runs that game. Like like when he makes contact, he can be that guy. But when he doesn't, like it's rough. Yeah, so.
His average now with Seattle is down to 170. Also, just fun fact.
Yeah.
Well, let's get Frank in here too. So Frank is on his way to his 4th final, which I find, like, I think if you did a pop quiz, no disrespect to Frank, but I don't think anyone, because you haven't gotten one yet, I guess is probably what it is. Plus 2 of them were pretty far back. 2 of your finals appearances. There was 19 and 20. I personally remember how before we came into this iteration of the league, you were dominant. I mean, the 2 of us, I think, squared off literally 3 years in a row at one point in our league, but back before it wasn't nearly as competitive, when we were just getting whoever the heck could fill in. So I remember all those times. But yeah, your 4th finals, the same amount as Nate. It just so happens that you were 0 for 3 in finals appearances, and Nate just happens to be 3-0. I feel you. I'm much closer to you, Frank, than I am to Nate. But yeah, so our matchup was really close as well. It ended up 9-7. You had to win. I was the higher seed. You had to go past 8-8, I mean. And what were some of your thoughts? Because we flip-flopped. I said so in the chat, but we probably flipped the lead maybe 10, 11, 12 times over the course of the day. And it sounded like you and I were both pretty locked in on the games because we were texting a lot of the day about F this and F that, mostly because we both were frustrated with how things were playing out. What was it like for you on Sunday? You were pretty nervous, I took it.
Yeah, I was just pacing around my place the whole time. It was just frustrating because knowing you lose on a tie. So it was like 7-7-2, and then it went to 7-8-1, and I was like, I could accept a true loss, but a loss in a tie is tough. And then it went to 8-8 again, and I was like, holy shit, I'm going to lose on a tie. And then thank goodness for Robbie Ray, I guess. That's,
Yeah. So I think there are two moments that I'm going to remember from this season as I lose again. I have a stat I need to get out before the end of this about how many times I've had a bye and lost and been out immediately, because it's astounding. But the 2 big things that I will remember are that I was up 1 quality start, and I was in pretty dire straits. Like, I had to win basically all of the pitching categories because my batting had been that bad. I think it was maybe Wednesday, and I still didn't even have 10 hits yet. My average was so low. I think on Tuesday, my slugging was like less than 100 still at the end of the day Tuesday. I mean, it was pretty rough offensively. I always walk, and so I felt like I would win walks, and I did win walks comfortably. But literally, I thought to myself, I'm going to have to win 7 pitching categories and then walks. So I knew I needed to hold quality appearances. I had Robbie Ray pitching at 305. You had Yu Darvish pitching at 310. So I also had Garrett Crochet to close the day out at 6. But I knew I wanted to make sure I got quality appearances. I thought my ratios were far enough ahead where I could probably afford to throw both of them if I needed to, because they're both pretty good pitchers. But Robbie Ray, of course, has really bad control. And so Frank, once he confirmed Robbie Ray was in, he took Yu Darvish out. I take that as like a defensive move. He didn't want you to like mess it up, basically, just in case he got shelled, even though it was the Rockies. So Frank was totally fine ceding the quality appearances to me. And then he waited and hoped that Robbie Ray would walk 4 guys. And sure enough, Robbie Ray walked 4 guys. And that's what flipped batting or walks, which frankly I didn't anticipate that I would lose walks. And I still had Garrett Crochet to come later. He could have won it for me with a 6-inning pitch, no walk performance. He hadn't walked someone in over 100 batters, they said. It's incredible. And of course, yes, he walked someone in the 2nd inning. And so then it's over. It was over. He could have maybe done a complete game from there. So I'll remember that you forced me to start Robbie Ray, but I probably could have just taken him out. And then also batting, I would have advanced, but in the 8th inning of the Padres and Rockies game, Fernando Tatis comes up to bat. If he strikes out, I advance. If he doesn't get a hit, I might have advanced. Like if he walked, which then, so your strikeout rate would have stayed the same. But instead he got a hit. So the strikeout rate goes down, barely down, but it goes down. And then Ramon Laureano comes up. He hasn't struck out all day. And he strikes out in the 8th inning, the last at-bat of either of our batters. And that strikeout flipped K percentage and gave Frank the 9-7 lead, which meant that I had to then throw Crochet. If he had not struck out that one at-bat, I would have had an 8-8 tie. I would have held Crochet out. I'd be in the finals right now.
Yeah.
So either the Robbie Ray hold or that last strikeout.
Yeah, what's funny about that too is the middle of that Padres game, you were up on batting average and K percentage, but it was less than 1%. Like it was literally like 234 for batting average and 202 for K percentage for a while.
It felt
So
like
it was as
destiny
tight
at
as
first
it was as
because
tight as it could get, for sure.
I also at the time had Cal Raleigh and Jorge Polanco, and Raleigh was 2 for 2 with a walk, and Polanco was 3 for 3. And if they didn't get each and every one of those hits, I would have never led an average. But just the fact that they didn't strike out that many times, I was super lucky to get into the point where I was in the lead. But then I'm literally I'm like doing this, and I'm watching Ramon Laureano, and I'm like, please do not strike out. And of course he does. And then I can't finish the deal because Crochet with a walk. So both matchups, sorry to go way on about that, but both matchups were super, super close. Like I mentioned, they played last year, Frank and Nate did. And at matchup, you know what? Actually, I thought I had it up. I actually don't. I think it was 9-6-1 to Nate. I don't remember how close it was. Do either of y'all have a memory of whether that matchup was really close or was it pretty well set? And 9-6-1 was just as close as it got.
I think like early on Sunday it was clear, but I think it wasn't like early in the week. It was,
Yeah.
if I remember
If I remember correctly, I remember the last 2 times I won before that. I think Justin, when I remember playing you, like we went all the way to Sunday. Then I think it was Frank last year. I think by Sunday I already knew. But it was pretty tight, like on Thursday, Friday, I believe, if I remember correctly. But I don't really remember a whole lot.
Oh man, I just pulled it up. Nate won by 13 runs. 14 home runs, 27 RBIs, 10 walks, 50 points of average, 203 points of slugging.
Okay.
Only can go up from here.
So the offense, yeah, that was Herculean. I mean, you had 25 home runs in the championship.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
That should be like commemorated in a plaque somewhere besides just the trophy. What an amazing I do not recall it being that great, but maybe it was just because like so early in the week your offense was so clearly going to win that Frank had 68 innings with a 1.45 ERA and a 10.1 K per 9 with a 154 batting average against. Like amazing pitching, and it just didn't matter because every single category in offense went your way. Actually, Nate, you ended up winning saves and holds, and then 7 of the 9 batting stats. So he basically waxed you on everything real pitching. You had the relievers and the bats, and that was enough. JW would rejoice. Relievers, bats, that's all you need.
Yeah, my offense is nowhere near that this year, so you don't have to worry about that, Frank. This year, probably.
Well, speaking of, I guess I hadn't thought to look, but we got an early scoreboard. It's 9:33. Frank's up 9-1-6. It could be over.
What's funny too is Clevenger got a holds, and then the Rays for some reason just said we don't want to win, and brought in Brian Baker, who tied the game up, and then Fairbanks pitched in the tie game instead of getting the save. So I was like, damn.
You got screwed because that's a big blow. I mean, three saves or 3 holds could. Yeah, sorry. Because with holds and saves, like 3 or 4 could win it. You never know. Like that sucks that they went away from their best guy for no reason. Wow, that sucks. I was gonna mention earlier that I said it in our chat, but in case anybody missed it, Alex and I have been in the 3rd place game. Every one of us has been in the 3rd place game every single year of the league's history, except for 2022.
Ooh.
So that's 7 of the 8 years one of us has been in the 3rd place game, and it's been you just as much as me. So like it's not just because I'm in there that's what it is.
So we are truly the best 4 teams in the league in this existence, right?
Well, JW and French might chime in and say,
"Yeah, I would."
Title.
Well,
I would take them with their title over my 3rd place finishes, and my 4th place finishes. Like it's.
Same.
At some point, it's nice to be like contending up until the next to final week, but it's also kind of a tough blow. Like I just went through and looked at the numbers, and like if somehow I would have played Frank last week, I would have beat him 8-7-1, and if I'd have played Justin, we would have tied 8-8, which means I'd have lost because of seed. Just looking at the numbers that we ended it with. But here we are, third place game again, fighting Justin for the actual 3 seed. We're gonna battle it out to the end for that 3rd place trophy.
Yeah, y'all already split the cost, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We did, but 3rd place is very important.
I was hoping that if I did play you, Justin, then I was gonna start. I'll give you the 80-20 split to start with, and then give you like that.
Everyone laughed, but that's pretty much what he did one year in one sport. There was a stretch of 4 straight playoffs, basketball, football, baseball, 4 straight events where Nate knocked me out of the playoffs.
Ouch.
It's been rough. I have a really, really bad winning percentage against Drayton. 2 of his 4 championships are against me in this league, but I think one of those was baseball, and I think you legitimately offered me like instead of a 900-200 split, you offered me like a 800-300 split, like on Wednesday. I'm like, I'm not gonna take extra $100. Like that's not enough. Offer me something legitimate, and I will probably take it because I am gonna lose. But don't insult me with this. It was, and he was just having a great time with that. On that conversation.
Well, we can talk about that later.
All right. Well, by Wednesday, we might have a better understanding of where we're both at.
Because right now, mine says that Frank, you're up 10-1-5.
Oh, it's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got
Not-
38
Yeah,
at bats
broken it.
with 13 hits so far.
Just a
to
Monday though.
to my well, Justin's got 34 at bats with 3 hits. And somehow I'm beating him in average with 11 at bats and only 1 hit. So
That's incredible.
yeah,
1 for 11 is good enough to be leading in average.
yeah, with a
Um,
.091 to your .088.
I don't understand. I had good weeks on offense. I think my offense was the second best VTL. Like, I think I was a good offense this year, but it's just vanished, and I don't know. Anyway, the one thing I wanted to mention was, no matter what happens, I think let me plug in actually just to make sure this is true. Oh, you know what? I hadn't updated the final formula.
Come on,
Sorry.
Joe. We expect you to have this stuff up to date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. So, okay, so no matter what happens in the finals, pop quiz, who has the best average final standings in our league's history?
Like
Finals standings or playoff?
Final standings, including playoffs.
Oh, like from year 1 to now,
Hmm.
like percentage or
Or like
most of
total
it?
games.
Average final standings. So 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. Your average would be 1.
I would think it would
If
have
you're
to be
1 and
one
1
of the
and
3.
2 and 2 and 12, then your average
Well,
might be 5.
Well, I've only tanked 1 year, so I'm guessing I'm either first or second. Frank is
That's
not
true.
tanked at all, so he's got to
No.
be first or second. You're on the verge of probably slipping to third.
I am.
maybe-
I am in third. Nate is second. Frank is first.
Yeah.
So the
Where-
one
where
big
am I
tank
at?
here obviously affects things. Alex, your average final standing is 5.6. That puts you just barely behind JW at 5.5. And French is 5.3. Having a number 1 helps.
Yep.
In that. Plus also French never tanks. I mean, never.
No.
So you, JW, and French are like that second tier, clearly the next best 3. And then Frank's is 3.3, Nate's is 3.6, I'm 3.9. I've plugged in 1.5s for both of y'all on that just because I don't know who's going to win and who's going to be second. But either way, Frank would still end the season with the lead. So props to Frank. I mean, you have been, I think at this point, it's just a matter of how you want to cut it. I did win 1. So I wouldn't trade, but at the same time, I think it's fair to say you probably are the second most successful team in the league's history. Just pretty cool. But if you want to talk regular seasons, I'm the number 1, okay? And that's not, I'm not kidding. I am the number 1 team in the regular season.
like the Cowboys.
Fun fact, I don't know if y'all care about this, but if we were to have run our league as a binary, you either win, you lose, or you tie, no big category numbers, my record would be 109, 47, and 9 over our 8 years in the regular season. And you want to know what it is in the playoffs? That would be 5 and 6. Nate's brilliance. You're very good in the regular season as well. 99, 61, and 5. So that's very, very, very good. But 8 and 2 in the playoffs. That's just kind of crazy. Frank, 7 and 6 in the playoffs, but a very robust 94, 61, and 10 for your career. Alex, you're actually under 500 in terms of like the binary win-loss, 75, 82, and 8, 4 and 5 in the playoffs.
Ooh.
You know, there is a team that's undefeated in the playoffs as well. Another fun fact. I don't know if fun facts are interesting to y'all, but
So it has to be JW. He's the only
nope.
No, because he lost this year. I beat
in
him
the playoffs. Yeah.
in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. JW
French?
has 4 and 3 in the playoffs. French is 4 and 4. So I mean, you're not close. It's just you don't even think about this.
Oh,
But
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah has only made the playoffs 1 time,
And he won it.
won the thing.
And he won it. Wow.
I would rather that than be in my
Yeah.
position.
Same. Like give me the 1 win and the trophy, like over the 3rd place finishes that I've had thus far.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can understand that. Having lost a lot in the playoffs and only won once. I've lost 6 times. I've won the championship once, so I certainly understand the pain of losing. One other stat that I had looked at that I thought was funny. I was 3 and out, or not 3 and out. I didn't mean to say that at all. I got a bye and I lost first matchup in 2018, 2019, 2023, and now 2025. So 4 times I've gotten a bye but lost immediately. Pretty crazy. Half of our seasons, I have a bye, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to lose anyway. Like, it seems pretty
You're
crazy
not,
to
you're
me.
not getting your team prepared.
You know,
Coach.
during the do you know how
What?
like, during the bye week you would have done against the team playing? Would you have won on your bye week?
No, I have never bothered to do that. I could for anything since 2020. 2018 and 2019 were on ESPN, and I grabbed all the data for like the matchups, who won who against like how many categories, but I have no stats. No, I do have the stats, but not the playoff stats. That's what I meant to say. So now I don't know. I could do it this week and see, because I'm always curious. Like, if one matchup goes differently and I play Alex and then Frank plays Nate, what would have happened?
Well, me and Nate
You
would have
just never
tied
know.
last.
Huh?
So, as in, me and Nate would have won 8-8, so he would have won.
I know, but it's context specific, right? Because Nate threw 3 junk pitchers the last day because he had nothing to
Yeah,
lose.
that's
So it's
true.
like it's hard to even compare sometimes. But I mean, we all do it.
Yeah, if you just look at the actual numbers that we ended the week with, like that's funny because me and you would have tied as well. So like
Dang.
both of the y'all would have moved on because y'all had the higher seed.
Wow. Well, it was a close. We were the 4 teams to me. It's not all season. We were the top 4 teams in the power rankings, except maybe at the very beginning, Alex may have needed a minute to warm up. But
Yeah, for sure. Not that it would have mattered, but because I got here.
What
and
were what were the rankings from that like little survey we did at the beginning of the year? Were we on it? I don't
yeah,
even
everyone
remember.
everyone was ranked. Let me pull it up. That's a great question. Funky Town football that nobody did. Okay,
I did it.
Funky Town baseball.
I did
Thank
too this week.
Did you? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think so.
All right. Responses. So that's a great question. So we'll start with you, Frank. So there were 5 tiers to it. There was no chance at playoffs, 1, likely to miss playoffs, 2, bubble, 3, playoff team, 4, championship contender, 5. So 4 people thought that Ballpark Franks was likely to miss the playoffs. That was the highest number for you. I don't know. Those people haven't really been paying too much attention over the last 8 years. It seems like you find a way. 1 person for Frank said bubble. 3 people said playoff team, and 1 person said contender. If I'm right, I think you were the only. You were the only person to get a contender vote. Was that you? Really?
I voted for myself contender. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, you were right.
Yeah.
I was going to roll my eyes at you and say, like, come on, man, you got to respect the data, but you freaking are in the finals, so I guess you were right. I was going to say, now it doesn't feel so statistically interesting. You were the only person that got both a contender and likely to miss the playoffs vote. For me, mine was super weird. I had 4 people that said I was a bubble team, 1 person that said I was a playoff team, and 4 people that said I was a contender. So how there were 4 and 4 on bubble but contender, I don't know. For Alex, there were 3 people that said bubble team, 5 people that said playoff team, 1 person that said contender. And I don't actually even have who said what. I think I might have said contender on Alex. And then for Nate, there was 1 person that said bubble, 5 people that said playoff, and 3 people that said contender. So Nate was the early favorite. And I think I was pretty much behind because we both had. Well, technically, I had the most people say I was a contender, but I only had 1 person say I was playoff. Nate had 8 people.
Thanks for that, Venmo. Send me that money to vote for contender for you.
Yes, it was well spent. Makes me feel a lot better about this season. I think that was fun though. The video doing that was a little bit awkward because I had to declare how Bo was the worst, and then how Brad also sucked, and then just kidding. But that was kind of awkward. But I thought it was pretty fun at the same time, and I like how Bo brought it back up as he made the playoffs and could have probably been a higher seed. He would have been a better team if he had tried all year long to like really build. Maybe that's one other thing. It's going on really long already. I'm having fun, but I don't know if you guys want to get out of here. But
I got nowhere to be.
Yeah.
well, who do y'all think is going to win next year? If you had to pick one team right now, who do you think will win next year? I know you haven't thought about it. You don't know what everyone has exactly.
Well, we have the expansion teams next year, right?
Yeah.
So it's
You picking one of the expansion teams?
I'm not saying that, but the draft's going
So
to be
to
interesting
set
after
the
the
table.
expansion draft, though.
Yeah. To set the table a little bit, Nate obviously bought in really big this year, doesn't have a whole lot of picks left, has a ton of talent to sell to all the people who are going to want to acquire some. Same position for me. I think the two of us bought the most. JW also bought quite a bit, but then hedged a lot at the end and sold 5 people and gave it away for free to Nate. That's why he's going to win.
That's 2 years
I
in a row.
mean-
Bo made a trade to Nate,
mean-
and then JW made a trade to Nate, and that's why he's here. JW would
We'll
have
see.
if Bo would have traded me
I
last
kid.
year,
But
kind of.
But JW will not have as much to flip now to get better in the offseason. But he'll basically, the point is the 4 of us should all be at least a little bit down. Frank, I know you didn't necessarily buy crazy in, but you sold your first and you have $20 Soto Tatis and J Ram. So we're all going to be taking a step back most likely, unless we can hoodwink someone into giving us an insane amount of picks for our great talent and be the first one to do it. That'll be key. I'm going to have a lot of commissioner conversations with people just to make sure they're feeling good about next season before I open up the trade window next year. So those 4 teams, the 4 of us, should probably be taking a step back, but you have Casey adding Ohtani plus whoever the 3rd best player in the draft is. You have Bo with a really strong, promising group of young guys this year and quite a few picks. You have Corey, who did add several guys that I feel like are good keeper values and has a ton of picks, but maybe doesn't have the elite talent yet. So it depends on how much he can acquire from the sellers. You have Jeremiah with 2 firsts, I think. I think Brad might have 2 firsts. So there's a lot of people with some picks. Those are not historically teams that have been really successful, though. And so it does put a question in my mind, like, could one of us be the ones that just somehow go all in again next year and win? Or is it one of those teams that you think most likely takes a step forward?
Who's second in the draft?
Technically, it's Brad.
Because that's Bobby
Yeah.
Wood Jr. That's also not bad at all, you know.
Yeah, he'll take it. I'm sure. That's got to be. I'm assuming that'll be Witt.
I think.
Go ahead,
Go
Nate.
ahead, Alex. Oh, okay. Well, I thought a little bit about this because I've been talking to some bottom feeders the last couple of weeks, but
Putting plans in motion for trades already.
yeah, my team is open for sale. By the way, no, it's just like, no. I think whoever wins the offseason in this offseason is probably going to take the lead, and then whoever's willing to just go all in is basically the deal. I think of those teams like the Brads, the Bows, Casey, Jeremiah, Corey, those types, like, it's really going to depend on what can they get in the offseason to go get maybe a Skeens or go get a Scooball or something like that, willing to spend $17 to $20 to go anchor your pitching rotation, have a good draft, and then who's willing to make the hard deals before the trade deadline, and who's willing to go get what you need, and you're going to have to do that. And if 2 or 3 do it, then there probably 2 or 3 will be in contention at the end, because that's all it takes to get good in this league. You just have to just go for it. And if you just sit back and wait, then someone else is going to get the deal, and you're going to be passed off. I think the number one thing, though, sorry, Alex, is you have to.
No, you're good.
You have to figure out when your time frame is. If you feel like your time frame is right now, then you have to go for it. If you feel like it's maybe next year, then you have to set your team up to make it to where you make that run in 2 years. The problem is not a lot have patience to do that, because it sucks to be bad for a year, because you want to get right back on the saddle and go for the next year. So I think it really matters on how good your team is now, what kind of young talent you have. You got to trust in some of your draft picks. You got to draft well, not just in the first and second round. You got to draft well in the mid rounds. And if you draft well in the mid rounds and you do what you're supposed to do in the first few rounds, and then you go pick up players, you're going to be fine. So it's really going to depend on those 3 or 4 guys, 5 guys that depend. One, are they willing to go for it? Like I know Jeremiah. I think he basically, Jeremiah and Bo are 2 prime examples. They didn't think they could win this year. Both of them, Jeremiah had a harder run at it. I think Bo probably could have won a little bit more if he tried, but I think Bo probably did himself a good service by waiting, because he wasn't going to compete against us 4. He just wasn't, I don't think. He could have beat one of us, maybe, if he would have pushed, but I don't think he would have won it.
I think the big thing with him is that if he had pushed and tried to go up against this group and then ruined the opportunity to be the best team next year, when again, no offense to the other guys, but we just talked about we're 4 of the more successful teams over the 8 years that we've been doing this. And to think that next year, and JW's right in there too, he has had some really good years. The 5 of us are all down. That sure seems like a good year to plan to strike. And so, frankly, even though it did feel like Bo's team had momentum, the odds weren't in his favor to win it all. And now he is probably poised. In my opinion, he would be it's hard to pick anyone that hasn't done it before exactly, but I've had a lot of conversations with him, just him making sure he understands how it all works last year. And I know the depth to which he thinks about this. And I know he was really excited about his young talent. He has tons of picks. I think the big thing is who can get much better in the offseason while still keeping their premium picks to themselves, right? Because I know it sounds like I don't really know what's better. Like you mentioned Skeens, you mentioned Scooball. Like I will sell Skeens if I get a first round offer, most likely. Last year, the first round offers weren't there. You can attest to that. You sold a lot of talent, Nate, and didn't get a first. So I feel like the meta in the league has kind of changed a little bit. Maybe it isn't just quite as open season. Like, sure, Mr. Nate or Justin, I'm going to give you whatever you want for your elite guys. Feels like we have a little more discipline as a league now. But I think I'd pick Bo. I was going to press you and say, like, do you think is it Jeremiah? Because he can do it and he will go all in. Or what do you think is your pick, Nate?
Yeah, I think it's whoever. Yeah, I think
pick.
Jeremiah has shown the ability to sell out. So he gets probably the leverage. I mean, he probably has the better understanding of how to get there. But all it takes is somebody else to do that. So I would say Jeremiah probably has the best opportunity. I do think Bo probably has a better team. I think.
I agree.
So
in
Bo
terms of potential,
probably,
all things considered.
Yeah. So if Bo was to sit here and say, "Hey, I'm going all in and I'm going to do what it takes," then he probably has the best opportunity.
I need to send another poll out about that. And then Alex, go ahead.
I was going to put my money on Bo, just because if you look at the cost of his keepers, he's only got 3 guys that are over $10, and he's got 11 draft picks in the top 5 rounds. Jeremiah's got 6 picks in like the top, I think in the top 5 rounds as well, something like that. But like his keepers are going to be a little more expensive to hold on to. So if the young talent that Bo acquired this year performs next year and he's able to keep that big of a core, he's going to be able to keep a lot of people. I believe, and as long as they perform like they did it towards the end of this year, I think at the trade deadline he was just kind of starting to gain that momentum, and that's probably why he didn't feel comfortable in going all in, because it wasn't proven yet. So, right now my money would be on Bo, but that's obviously you never know what's really going to happen. It all really comes down to the guys that and how they perform. This is the first year that I've ever gone all in. At the trade deadline, I did make a move to get some of my picks back. Once I couldn't go all out and sell the 3, 4, and 6 or whatever I had, at the end. It was a little scary, I will admit, because to be honest, I didn't know if I could catch the three of y'all and be able to compete with you. And I was in that same boat where I was thinking maybe next year's the year. I should just hold on to what I have, sell some of my expiring contracts and try to gain some keepers for next year. But at the end of the day, I decided to make a run for it. Hindsight, I probably would do it again because it was that close that I feel like I put myself right in the mix. Like I know I'm technically, fighting for that third, fourth spot. But if you would have asked me any week, if I would have felt comfortable facing off against either of you three, I'd have said, yeah, like I feel like I had a chance to win. So
I think proof of concept is in the fact that I was a super team in 2023. We didn't necessarily have even a super team this year. I know Nate thinks his team is a super team, of course, but his team's really good. I think Nate's team might be even a little better than mine was. But like I was clearly one of the top two teams in 23. I lost in the first round. I was clearly one of the top two teams this year by VTL wise. I mean, Frank, Alex, you weren't far off, but I lost in the first round. I was talking to JW earlier today, and he said, I think this is just perfect exhibit A on like why you just get in the playoffs and just see what happens sometimes. I know you're like the cautious type by nature, Alex. And so for me, I was personally happy just to see you go for it because I did feel like your team was good enough and that this year there wasn't that top dog that was just unbeatable. And yeah, it was super close. And if you hadn't been matched up with Nate, you've been matched up with me, you'd probably still be alive as well. I don't know who you did the match, like our matchups, but
I did. We were 8-8, but again, like, yeah,
we were too.
So like I said, though, like you said, I think it's all, you don't really know, right? Because depending on where the numbers were, like I was behind in enough pitching categories to you that I probably would have thrown everybody.
Yeah.
And like, just hope for the best. I had you dominated in offensive categories for the most part. I think I was I won 5 of the 8 against you on offense, but the pitching categories, you smoked me. So, but
I had a hell of a week pitching.
Yeah.
Frank, what about you? What do you think for next year if you had to pick one team? We got 2 Bows and 1 Jeremiah.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with Bo for sure. I mean, that young talent, I mean, he's really his prime for next year for sure. So it's actually good for him he didn't go all in. But yeah, I'm definitely on. Bo's definitely a big
team, Bo.
Sleeper next year for sure. It's a big sleeper team.
Yeah, just like really quick going through some of the contracts that he has that are less than like $6. He has Ivan Herrera, Nick Kurtz, Michael Bush is $9, but that's still a pretty good value for as good as he was. Brooks Lee, Chandler Simpson, Jack Caglianone, I guess. I don't know how to say that guy's last name. Kyle Teal, Christian Moore, Christian Campbell. He also has Max Clark and Walker Jenkins. A lot of offensive talent for sure. That's super cheap. I wonder about that. Like he has so many keepers. I think there's a diminishing returns at some point if you keep 20 keepers and you have all these draft picks.
I was about to say that.
You honestly need
to make a lot of hard decisions.
Yeah.
No, what you do with that is you
make a package to
you get rid of 10 of them.
Yeah.
And then you trade them to guys that need low salaries like us in this room.
Hello.
And then in return you get 1 star player. Basically, is what you get
at a good rate.
Yes,
like a Tarek Skubal or come try to get Crochet.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't forget Nick Kurtz in that offer.
Yeah, I've got 3 first basemen. If you want to take a chance on Suarez and hope that it's not just a Seattle curse.
But I think you're dead on. Yeah, he has too many guys. The problem is if you have all of those good picks, you have to have relievers in this league. And if you have 15 really high end picks, you're not getting like 5 relievers. And so then all of a sudden, like you have 20 keepers and 15 good players, and now you have no relievers, and it's kind of just too many people. And yeah, I think that would be what I would target as well if I were Bo, would be to come give me his 5 best prospects, and then maybe I'll give him someone else.
Well, I'll tell you, this league, the history of this league, and nobody can convince me otherwise. It's a superstar league, man. Like, you got to have superstars. You got to have 2 aces going into the playoffs. You really need that. Guys that can, give you 6, 7 quality innings. And then you need guys that hit home runs. And I've told this to JW before, him and I've talked about it. Like, you got to have some 40 home run guys. And I think everybody in this chat has a 40 home run guy.
I did. but Suarez
yeah.
fell out of that 40. I mean, he's got 45 on the year, but he hasn't had the
but
3. And
Caminero, Suarez, Ohtani, and Raleigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to have the home run guys. You got to have guys that like that, and you fill the rest of your roster with just guys that don't strike out and guys that walk, and then bullpen guys that just try to get good K per nines, and then maybe get some holds and saves, and you can figure that out later. You just got to have 2 really good starters, and you got to have at least 2 or 3 really good hitters. And if you have that, then you're going to be good as long as your depth is fine.
Do y'all prefer to have to scavenge for bats or for starters? If you have to be bad in one side and like rely on the waivers to sustain you over the course of a season, Frank, it feels like you can always find pitchers to me. I mean, you pick up good pickups like all the time. I think that's like your best trait is mid-season management. You're probably the best manager we have. But I think finding pitchers like Alex, you have so many good pitchers on your team right now that came from the waivers that I had never even heard of half of them. So I don't honestly know the way y'all will go with this, because finding a good bat that's actually like a very good bat's pretty hard. But I think people get scared to have to rely on a lot of pitchers on the waivers.
Yeah. But I think with pitching, though, is you can always play the matchups, where with hitting, you really can't. You really need a reliable bat most of the time. But I could add a guy who's playing someone, the A's or the Rays or someone shitty. And then, but you get a guy who's hot for 2 weeks, then he sucks for a month. Offensively, it's not worth it,
Just cut him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. The pitchers are easier to pick up. You can look at their trends. What have they done the last 2 weeks, the last 7 days, and how are they coming into form? Sometimes they get sent back down to the minors and they come back like a whole new guy, which is I think easier than finding bats. And I think it's going to be even tougher next year to find bats on the wire with 2 extra teams.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that either. And like my vision had always been 16 teams, and that's really deep. And I know that that's scary. And 14, we'll see how it goes. I do think that we probably need to reduce the roster size by 1 or 2.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, I think it's probably best if we reduce 9 pitchers to 8 or maybe 7 even. And then there is also the idea of you could just cut a bench spot off, or you could say we don't need 2 outfielders, we need 4 outfielders. I know that'd be kind of weird, but I wonder how it's going to go. Frankly, I'm not afraid of the deeper league, but I think I'm always pretty well versed on the player pool, maybe relative to the average even in our league. I bet I probably have. I don't know on this call actually. I mean, Alex, I know you don't claim to know like deep prospects, but like Frank and Nate, I think you both are probably pretty high up the knowledge power rankings. Now that I'm saying this, I think of Maffey is pretty high up, as well. I think JW and Bo and Jeremiah almost feel like French. We have a pretty knowledgeable league, I feel like. So maybe we'll be all right. I think we'll be fine. I'm not too worried, frankly, about the extra depth. I think it'll be fun. But
I just think the problem with the extra depth is just the production that you get from them. We're talking 2 more teams. That's what 80 more players that are going to be off the waivers. And so now instead of picking up, a guy that's playing, I don't know. I picked up a couple of the guys from Colorado, Jordan Beck, Moniak, and then I made that trade with you for Goodman, I think. And they kind of showed up for a few weeks and then left for a few weeks, and I think it's going to be harder to find those that show up and we'll see what happens.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny though that this year we had probably 40 guys on people's roster that we had to cut because Justin found out that the rosters were extra full.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maffey, who had like 17 extra players. But I just added one. I didn't know it wasn't. I didn't know that.
So how many players was that total? It had to be close to 40, right?
No,
Yeah, there was a
it was a
bunch.
legitimate extra team, and I don't know how long that lasted, but it was several weeks, I bet you, of 20 to 30 players off the waivers. So it kind of worked great. It was like a little trial run. I think that'll be kind of fun. It's not that we don't already trade a ton, but like maybe depth trades actually matter a little bit more. I just think having a couple extra teams will be nice because it really increases the trade options pretty, I want to say exponentially, but like when you throw an extra variable for all 12 other teams to consider, especially because I'm pretty excited about the two guys we're bringing in particular. Duran, I've played with him for almost a decade in football and basketball leagues. He's a really intelligent guy. He knows sports. He doesn't know baseball like in depth yet, like most of the rest of the league does. But I think I'm kind of like you, Alex. You can look at numbers and make trend analysis. You're smart. You can remember, obviously, he is a super trading guy. He wants to trade all day long. Excited about him. And then Glenn coming in has tons of baseball knowledge, has played fantasy before, actually. He'll be more of like the need to download the fantasy gene again because he's been out of the game for a little bit. But with those two guys coming in too, I just think that ultimately it'll be more competitive and it'll have more trade scenarios. We'll have more diverse interactions. Like, I just think it's going to be good. I don't know if we'll ever get to 16. That'd be intense for sure, but I'm excited about that.
I would like to see 16 personally because
I think I just like
the
two.
thin.
Frank, would you?
I love the thinness of what a 16 team is. It's hard. Like that's what it puts more emphasis on that star player too. Like
Yeah.
you have to have, like, if you have Acuna like I have right now, like you need Acuna to be healthy, and if Acuna's not healthy, you're not going to win. But that goes like back for the Braves. If the Braves don't have Acuna playing, they're probably not going to go to the playoffs.
I think for the top end teams, it's more of a challenge because you've been there and you've won it, or you've had a chance to win it. For the bottom tier teams, the thought of it being even harder to get that win, to be able to climb those ranks and be able to battle with the top ranked teams, I don't think is going to be as fun for them. That's just it. From my perspective, like I don't feel like this year I had a top 4 team, right? Like, and I've been in that third, fourth game before, but I feel like I'm really like a middle of the road manager, fantasy baseball player in our league. You know, based off of the stats, that's about where I'm at in that 5-6 seed. It's upper middle, but like fair. Even for me, like on the lower end of the high, like it's already hard to get there. Like, and I haven't done it in the 8 years that we've been there. I've been in that third, fourth game, but how many people haven't made the playoffs? How many people haven't had a chance to win one yet? And how much harder is it going to be? You start adding 2 extra teams next year, and then potentially, 2 extra teams a couple years down the road after that. Like, it's if we're talking about parity of the league and for everybody to feel like they can have a chance to win, I think the thinner the rosters and the thinner the people you can pick up gives advantage to the better fantasy players. You, Nate, Frank, J-Dub, the people that have been there and have done it. But that's just.
I don't know about J-Dub,
maybe
but, the other three.
Well, I mean, listen, I think he. I love my man J-Dub, but I think he went a little hard, a little heavy, a little quick right after the draft, making a trade to lose his top 2 picks for a couple of guys. But that's just my opinion.
He's finally admitted that was a disaster for sure.
They just try to get to the spirit of it, but yeah. But I just think it'll be tougher for that mid-range to the lower end guys. But that's just me.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about it. I think we've had pretty solid balance in terms of playoff appearances. Bo's only been in the league for the 3 years, I think, total, but he's made it twice. Brad, I think, is only 1 for 3, but he's kind of sold and made that decision. Everyone else has made it 3 times except for Jeremiah, but he's won it, so it doesn't feel like I do see what you're saying, right? Like if the best teams have the best baseball knowledge, they'll be the ones that are most likely to get the good finds on the deep waiver wire and maybe like accelerate their lead. My first thought when you're saying that was, let's say there's we're in the 14-team environment. We have another season like this where a lot of the good teams are in. I feel like at that point, it gives the team that's been collecting all these big draft picks even more of an advantage over the teams that went all in. And so maybe the teams who choose to rebuild will have an even bigger gap, like in favor of them to start, which would in theory maybe be the bad teams if they're planning strategically that way. I'm curious how it's going to go, but I acknowledge that's possible. I mean, when it comes time to go find a deep waiver pick, people who are more familiar with the name are going to be more likely to grab the guy that's going to make an impact. I do see that.
Yeah. Well, also, I like you said in one of your earlier videos, being able to get back assets. Like right now, like we said, we think Bo like has the best chance out of the the people for next year, but we've also seen what Nate does in the offseason, right? Like he doesn't have picks right now, but I guarantee that changes by the time like we get around to the draft. Like he's going to be able to restock and be able to have a team. I mean, you weren't good last year. You finished 12th, like you tanked on purpose, but to come back and like be in that top 2 seed, like you know what I mean, like you had to take a year off. But
I did. Yeah, he did. Now he came into last year's draft with a second, 2/3, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, and then a 10th. So I don't know if that's better or worse than you were thinking. It wasn't. I was surprised that he floated schemes out there. He floated out all these names, and he did not get a first. I was obviously very happy about that.
I would like to see what picks he had at the end of last season, and then where he was going into the draft. To what I mean, like because
he had no top 10 picks. I don't believe.
Right. So and he came into the draft
with
what?
A second, 2/3, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth.
Right. So like he had 5, pretty good draft picks. I mean, I know you're missing your first rounder, but he also had Ohtani, which is really your first round pick anyway. So like, or no, did you get Ohtani? Yeah, you got Ohtani last year, right?
Yeah,
last year. So
here's a scenario for you. So I have mocked my keepers for next year, right? I'm out. I don't really care. Like now what happens? I want to win third, but so I could keep Kyle Tucker, Paul Skeens, Vlad, Crochet, Cal Raleigh, Max Fried, Byron Buxton, Wilyer Abreu, and Yuri Perez. That's a pretty damn good $100 of keepers.
But no depth.
But my picks, I have literally no top 10 round picks. And when I look at the rest of the people that I have on my list, what kind of picks do you think I'm getting for $23 Gunnar Henderson or Corbin Carroll, $17 Cole Reagans, $18 Blake Snell, Christian Walker for $12, Ian Happ for $11, Max Muncy for $11, and then I have a whole bunch of like $10 my best free agents. Like I'm pretty worried that I'm not going to be able to buy back in.
I think in years past that's obviously an issue, but with teams that are going to be so thin, it might be worth spending that money just to have someone compared to like what you may end up with.
I think you're right, but the situation that they're going to run across, the bottom teams that are looking to buy Christian Walker or Pete Alonso from me or whoever, or Juan Soto, is you're going to have the prices are going to be way lower. Like you're going to be able to give a third rounder unless somebody wants to give a second rounder for like Pete Alonso. Like Pete Alonso will probably not go, and I don't mind saying this because I know what Skeens went for last year and all those other guys that I gave up. Like with all 4 of us pretty much looking to maybe sell some assets that we don't plan on keeping, they're not going to go for higher than a second, third round for sure. It's probably not higher than a third. And so all these people that are wanting to get back into adding salary to their cap space or whatever they got available. Like they don't mind going out and giving a third or a fourth or a fifth or maybe a fourth and a sixth. And so we're going to be able to fill up probably like I did last year almost. We're going to be able to fill up a lot of third rounders, fourth rounders, fifth rounders, sixth rounders. We just won't really see those first and second rounders unless somebody's willing to give up like the premier guy. Like if I give up Scooball, I'll tell you right now, I'm not giving a Scooball up this year in the offseason. I'm going to keep him.
Well, for $5, I would expect that you wouldn't.
Yeah,
just because the value, but
the return on investment in Scooball at the trade deadline next year is going to be way more valuable than he is in this offseason.
Yeah.
So these guys just have to understand how to build their roster, and they got to know who they're keeping and know who to drop, and then know what things that are coming up in the draft. If I'm Brad, I know I'm going to get Bobby Witt, and he already has Ellie De La Cruz. You probably don't need a shortstop, right? So don't go after shortstops or middle infield. Go after a big outfield bat or something like that. So you just got to build it the right way, and then do what you need, and then hopefully you draft well. Because if you have all those draft picks, you cannot miss. If you miss in the first, second round, you're just setting yourself back. I mean, that's what happened this year. Even how many people missed on first rounders this year? There was a few, like
not me. I didn't have one.
Like Santander was a first rounder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was a huge miss.
That's a great question. I need to pull that up.
But I mean, that's one of those things. It's like it's tough to really know what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I grabbed Suarez in the third round, maybe fourth round.
But you want me to go over a couple highlights of picks? So these are the picks that I'm going to say, like maybe they didn't quite hit. By the way, we're all cool with the fact that Kyle Schwarber went number 1 overall, despite Julio being there. Good call from Jeremiah.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
So number 4 was Jazz Chisholm, pretty good, but doesn't seem like a number 4 in the draft. Santander went 6th, right before Framber Valdez, who's freaking amazing. Adley Rutschman went 8th. Christian Walker went 10th. Teoscar Hernandez went 12th, right before Logan Webb went. Ian Happ really wasn't any good for the 2-1. Michael Harrison, the 2-2, wasn't any good. Bailey Ober at the 2-5 was terrible.
Ooh.
Mark Vientos at the 2-8. So Bo led off this year with Rutschman and Vientos.
Man, imagine if he would have drafted.
Oh, dude, if you just go, if you take like Logan Webb and Cal Raleigh.
Oh my, yeah.
Both of them available later than his pick, right? Cal Raleigh, obviously, like only a genius would have known how great of a pick that would be. But Cal Raleigh went in the 3rd, so that's probably the craziest one. Hunter Brown went 3-6. Genius pick. Anyway, a couple of those early picks, like in the first 2 rounds, we had Santander, Rutschman, Walker, Hernandez, Happ, Harris, Garcia, Ober, Vientos, Sasaki, Butler, and Cruz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of misses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's hard. Like you said, you can't miss, but as we've shown, like there's a lot of misses every year in it because it's hard to guess what they're going to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I would think like selling your first, like if you're not in on like an Ohtani or Bobby Witt or someone like that, it's really the end of the world, because what am I going to get? Santander, potentially for potentially a great superstar player or someone I could have potentially kept for this year or something, So.
Yeah, it's that proven guy we all want, right? We all want Juan Soto, or we want Tatis, or we want Ohtani or Witt, or we all want those guys are premium, which in this draft they're good. They're there. Like this last draft, it was maybe Schwarber, right? That was the only one that you can maybe count on. That was that's in that tier.
Julio was in there too, which like so tantalizing. But I think at this point we've all learned,
but he was even so much in people's doubts last year that he wasn't the number 1 pick.
I didn't want to take him number 1. I was desperate to trade out of number 1.
Yeah, and I had him the year before, and he just for the first half of the season he does nothing. Like we all know that. Like it's always
real quick. The guys that are expiring that are for sure available in next year's draft class: Pablo Lopez, Bobby Witt, Shohei Ohtani, Shane McClanahan, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, Marcus Semien, Dylan Cease, Freddie Peralta, Austin Riley. $23 players: Gunnar Henderson, Spencer Strider, Corbin Carroll. And $20 players: Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Jose Ramirez, Ronald Acuna. And $19 Lindor, Seager.
I really do not expect any $20 player to be in that draft. I think the bottom level teams will swoop them up.
So Frank has Tatis, Soto, and Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, if he doesn't keep them, then
What about
the
23? What about
maybe,
Gunnar Henderson,
yeah,
Spencer
Gunnar Henderson,
Strider,
I can
Corbin
see.
Carroll? No one's keeping Spencer Strider. If you want him,
No.
though, no low ball.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna keep Gunnar Henderson. Maybe Corbin Carroll, just because he had a decent year outside of his injury.
He did have a good year.
But no, any $20 player is gonna be kept. I'll tell you that right now. Like, they're all gonna be kept. There ain't gonna be out there.
Trey Turner, Mookie Betts. I don't know about Mookie. Alex.
I've got Mookie, Freddie, and Bryce Harper, 17, 35, 20, and 20. And I got a lot, but the problem is that I've got a lot of people that I picked up off the waiver wire too that are the $10 players that I've got to make decisions on. Like, is this real life, or did he just have a pretty good season?
Well,
but then I also have the Suarez. Like, he absolutely fell apart once he got to Seattle. And is it worth keeping somebody that can hit the 45 if he can't do it in that ballpark? I don't know. You know, he's 34. He's $10.50. Like, I don't know.
Every bottom level team will have a $17+ player. They should.
They should. Yes,
they should.
I agree.
Every bottom player should have a $17+ player. And what's going to end up happening is once they all have one, they can't afford a second one. So that's going to. So if Frank, for hypothetically, decides to get rid of one of those $20 players, then to somebody and to get maybe a second rounder back or whatever, that player's done. Whoever that is, they're done with $20 players.
With the $20 players,
unless they want to go 2 players for $40, but
Frank, if you decide that you don't want to keep Fernando Tatis, let me know and we can talk first baseman. I got Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts.
Shoot. If you don't want to keep Jose or Soto, let me know. I'll somehow find a way.
I've never had Soto, and
that's crazy.
That's one player I always wanted to have.
You don't want to.
I am the original owner.
I do want Soto.
That's the whole reason I took him last year. Even when I didn't have money to keep him, I still found a way because I was like, I can't not take him. Didn't
you trade him? Didn't you trade French for him?
Yeah, but it was offered to me. I didn't even think about Soto until it was offered to me. And then I was like, well, there's no way I can turn it down. Can't turn down.
Yeah.
No, I did have Soto. I did have Soto one year, but that was when he.
We all traded every player around
terrible.
For a while.
When he was bad it was when he was bad with the Padres.
Yeah, you dropped him. You traded Justin for him. Justin traded away Julio Rodriguez, Travis Denard, Nestor Cortez Jr. for Kyle Tucker, Devin Williams, Juan Soto, and Yasmani Grandal. And that was July of 2022. And in January 23, you dropped him. And then he was drafted by Jeremiah, round 1, pick 1.
That was probably like a drop so that he had to go back in the draft or
had to go back in the draft.
Probably.
Yeah, it was.
Kept by French picked him up off the waiver wire in 22.
Nate probably dropped him because he knows he can't keep him.
Yeah, his contract had expired.
But
that's right.
I don't know if y'all remember. Fun fact about the league was that Juan Soto. I picked up Juan Soto, and then he was hot for like a minute, and I was like, I got to sell this kid as soon as I can before he comes back down to earth. So I lumped him in as one of 4 players to go to Alex to get, I think, like Max Scherzer or something. I remember Asdrubal Cabrera was also in that deal. That's the only thing I can remember was Asdrubal Cabrera and Juan Soto were 2 of my 4 pieces.
That's the real highlight of that deal.
Asdrubal Cabrera. He was useful in a few categories.
He had position eligibility in like seven
he was
positions.
Like $1 to keep too. I think
it was super. He was like 36 round or something.
Guys, it has been an hour and 10 minutes. I don't think anyone's going to watch this whole thing now. Not even the staunchest of supporters of the video. Not even French or JW will watch this whole thing. But I had a lot of fun. I feel like we could keep talking probably for a lot more. But we probably need to call it.
Let's say something like post this in the chat if you made it this far and see if anyone actually
I like it. Just give a certain
French
smiley face or something.
French will be the one to
Right.
somehow watch all hour and 10 minutes. That's my prediction.
I just tell them to put it on like 2x speed.
Yeah.
There you go.
No problem. All right. Well, best of luck to Frank and Nate. Now let's check, since it's been an hour, what's the score of the matchup? That'll be the final thing before we go. It's 9-2-5 to Frank. All right.
All right.
I'm gonna order the plaque. You know, one thing I almost did. I don't believe in jinxes. I don't believe in any kind of jinx. I was seriously close to going ahead and buying a plaque that said Nate's name on it and spending the money, just because I thought it might bother Nate, because he would think that there are jinxes. And so I almost spent like the $13 just to get a plaque and to post it in the chat and be like, hey, it's already settled. And then I decided against it. But I was pretty close. Like, I was very
You screwed
serious
me,
about
Justin. You screwed me.
Yeah. Well, this was. I'll finish with this. I made it to the finals in football last year and basketball last year. So I'm on a losing streak in championship games right now.
Very
Because
good.
I have not won the last 2 championship games. So I'm not. I told you before this thing even started, Justin, that I didn't feel confident going into Alex's matchup.
Yeah.
And even this one with Frank, like I don't feel the greatest. I mean, there's certain aspects that I like, okay, maybe this is my avenue here, but a couple bad outings and my team decides to not hit, then I'm out. But we'll see. I'm just happy to be here. My overall goal every year is always just to make the finals, and then I've just been lucky 3 times. So that's
Well, let's
basically
talk about this 800-300 split later in the week too.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think this was really fun. I think this is good proof of concept that this is much more fun than me just talking about numbers, because we were able to do it and sit here for an hour and just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it gives merit to the podcast idea too, by the way, that we could
Mhm.
just sit here and talk, sports over this and just post it
Yeah.
there. But that's
JW is very sure that it would work, and I just don't know who would listen to us, but it is fun. I mean, I enjoy it, so maybe that's all that matters.
maybe.
But I like the video component of it too, though, because it's fun to get to see your actual face and see if you're laughing or smiling or something. But
Absolutely.
but I think this will be the
My
new.
wife did just say that we were ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
She came over here and
That's
told me
right.
good night. She said,
Mine
"Y'all
does too. Mine does too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
I just bought a mic today, so yeah, I'm like a legit.
Oh,
you're a
Yeah.
legit
Big time.
VOD guy now."
Yeah, I'm
Now
pretty
you
big
really
time.
need to do the podcast.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right.
Yep.
We'll see you next time. Good luck in the finals, and
yeah,
good
good
luck in
luck,
the third place
Frank.
game, Alex.
We'll have
You too,
to
Nate.
do this
We'll be
after
talking
the
later in the
season.
week. Don't worry.
All right, fellas. Have a good
All right,
night.
see ya.
All right,
Bye,
see ya.
guys.